Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome to another episode of the FairDinkum podcast. This week's episode we had Brother Hakeem. He's been a big suggested guest for a while now. We've been trying to get him on for a few months, but alhamdulillah he made it all the way from the southeast of Melbourne. Honestly, what a story. This brother reverted at the age of like 17, 18. First one, his family and his community, being from Vietnamese background as well, which is quite rare actually. First Umrah experience, also explaining through the challenges of as a new Muslim. He is a high-ticket barber, as he's known as. He started off just cutting people's hair in his house, and then he got to a stage of charging people $100+, and now he's getting over 500 million views on social media, showing his content to the public and to the world. He went all the way to Vegas, meeting Alex Hormozi and his team, which is amazing, showing the experiences and people he's starting to meet through his venture. Honestly, this episode is jam-packed, full of stories, a lot to learn. We learned so much. We can't wait to bring him back again. But yeah, enjoy the episode.
You have to understand your audience and how they feel, what they believe, and you present to them something that can help them. That ultimately brings value, because value is created when pain is alleviated.
FairDinkum.
But speaking of Ramadan, we're live, by the way. In the month of Ramadan. Hakeem, welcome for coming on our FairDinkum podcast.
Nice.
Long time waiting. Funnily enough, we were actually trying to get you back. When was it? Almost 6-7 months ago. Well, you flew onto my radar. I don't know about Ali's. When we had
Where?
from Bahdanam for the first time. And a couple of the boys from the area, they had the Al Haramain.
Yep.
They run the Umrah trip and stuff,
Yeah.
And then after I seen your face familiar, but then Bahdan gave us a bit of tea to your story, It was very, very interesting,
What do you say, bro?
But he said nothing about good, Bahdan.
Yeah.
He's a man of...
You sure about that?
Say again? But,
I love it.
so for those that don't know you, Hakeem, could you give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. My name's Hakeem Haong. I'm a Revert. Came to Islam about 2 Ramadans ago. This is the 3rd Ramadan now. 21 years of age. Grew up, not as pretty much grew up homeless. In Australia, we migrated here. And then been able to, my mission is to, put my family in a better position first, put myself in a position so I can put the world in a better position. And then network with brothers like yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you take us to 2 Ramadans ago,
Yeah.
Let's
go straight into it.
Yeah, let's get straight into it.
Let's go to the juice.
What's going in the mind of a young Vietnamese Australian who lives in not the east, the southeast of Melbourne, and how does Islam come to it? Because we're born Muslim, So the idea of someone reverting to Islam is like a foreign concept, because obviously everyone's on their different journey and whatnot. But the idea of, and it's a blessing in of itself, but the idea of Islam coming to one, it's like a whole different world. So could you share us a bit of light into yours?
Yeah, definitely. Growing up without, let's say, God, or let's say even a belief, or, you finding yourself, is definitely a journey where you go through heaps of roller coasters. I'm sure that's with everyone's journey, but on a reverse perspective, coming to Islam, it was very fruitful, right, at the end of the tunnel. So, I grew up always curious, right? I had that inner child to what does that mean, and what is this, and what happens after you die, and what happens? Is it just blackness? So, I remember I think a lot of people have this as well, is that when they think about it as a kid, you start getting scared, right? And then I kind of just avoided that. And it's okay, it's right. I'll just make this work the best I can. Then as you grow up, I feel the world puts indoctrinations. Mum tells you this one thing. Let's say teacher tells you one thing, you have to do this. So you kind of just followed what everyone, and then you lose that inner child.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I was like young, I felt like I was really like hustling, you know, like I had that inner child to explore my creativity, explore that side of me. And as I went to high school, you kind of lose touch with that,
Yeah.
you know, because obviously it's a peak time of like influence.
Correct.
And I lost a little bit of hope because during then, obviously we had like a lot of issues with father. So I was in a state of like unclarity. And I needed that clarity. I wanted to find clarity because that's, you know, the problem that I needed the most. So during COVID was where, you know, I was very lost. I couldn't handle thoughts by myself. You know, I couldn't handle thoughts by myself. So I come to a realization that like I had to be comfortable with the guy in there.
Your own thoughts.
Exactly. And that started like what you call like self-improvement.
Yeah.
Um,
And what age is this, by the way?
yeah, this is like 17.
So, yeah.
Wow.
17. Yeah, 17.
And the household that you're brought up in,
Yeah.
what type of household was it in the sense that religious, non-religious?
Yeah, non-religious.
Yeah, that's correct.
It was very, we were just thinking about tomorrow's survival rather than,
Correct,
you know, yeah. So, you know, obviously mum was working 9 to 9 and she basically had working like very, like she's getting $7 an hour. She's the main provider. And as you know, like for mum is very tough. So from a quick age, I knew I had to step up. I had to step up because I had another brother coming on the way, you know, and he's like,
Oh, so you're the oldest.
Yep.
So that responsibility comes in.
yeah, I knew I had to step up because seeing mum cry each night, you know, I know I had to step up and it started getting like, man, I got to get money up. You know, obviously that's like the resources working for tomorrow's survival, but I knew like there had to be a deeper motive, you know.
Correct. Yeah.
At times you think like deep down, if you really look deep down, like money isn't going to solve it. It isn't. Money is the first, like, you know, surface. So I began my research, started reading books. I started meditating and becoming more comfortable with that, you know, person.
Yeah.
And it was hard, man. Like, you know, like when you meditate for 1 minute, like you just, your mind goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it's the act of returning back to. So that same thing happened in like, you know, day-to-day activities. Some days, like, you know, in that environment, boys would tell you to get distracted towards X, Y, you know, like doing, you know, hedonistic activities, especially growing up with like not even Islam or not even God in sight, you know. It's very easy to get distracted when it's associated as normal. So like it's the consistent act of, oh man, like, you know, I screwed up, boom, come back, I screwed up, boom. And like, you'll be surprised how many times that happened. So began my research, looked into spirituality at first. I was considered like spiritual. And then I went into like studying Buddhism and then studying Christianity. I went to temples, just curious.
Oh, so you were researching the whole list?
Yeah. I was just curious. Looked into Judaism, looked into like, I went in the rabbit hole of like conspiracies, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
You know how that's like.
You're asking people around yourself as well?
Yeah.
In different communities?
Yeah. And because I was a barber at the time.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of opinions, a lot of perspective. And I was, you know, I was very open to listening to everyone's stories. And I took it at face value because I always came with the mindset of like, someone has value. I'll take, you know what. And talked to a lot of Muslims, talked to a lot of, you know, people from different religions. And I kind of wanted to form my own belief.
Yep.
And like, I'm just going to be a good person, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
A lot of people come to that conclusion these days.
Yeah, you just become a good person and you call it a day, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just as long as you live good, you know, and you're good. But then I realized there's more to life. Yeah, there was more to life. So I essentially, one day a brother came and gave me a Quran. All right, he gave me a Quran. I also had a Bible, and I like read them both. Both beautiful scriptures.
Yeah,
beautiful scriptures. And a brother who like came to me towards. I went to the church as well. Went to the mosque, and when I went to the mosque, I was with Sheikh Bador now. Sheikh that was here not long ago.
Okay,
Yeah. And he was very eloquent in the way that he spoke towards, like, he was very firm and knew the answers you know, and it was in a way that was like respectful, but like wasn't challenging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you challenged in a positive way, whereas like I felt like they were more forceful. Yeah.
Okay.
So I felt like you know, reversion. It made me feel like reversion was a thing that happens to you.
Correct.
You know.
Yeah, not just like, oh, join the club, like trying to push you, trying to sell you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I have nothing bad to say about other, but I just like from my own personal experience, it could be someone else's different, but you know, going into the mosque, it felt different. The brotherhood was just amazing. Like you walk in and someone just says like "Salam alaikum," it's like some weird words to you, like damn, and smiles at you, like you're like, you know, and everyone that you walk past, like they come and shake your hand, regardless of, like I was a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Because it was 2020, 2020 like two, or 2023. I was a sore thumb. Like there was no Asians in sight. You know, like the Asian movement. I was went in and I felt like I was out of place.
Yeah. Was that the first time you've interacted like that, apart from like high school, but as in after high school life?
Exactly.
Getting used to interacting with a community where it's like, it's all different backgrounds, different types of people.
100%, 100%, exactly. And they would just come and shake my hand, and like I felt welcomed.
Yeah.
You know, I felt very welcomed, despite my skin color. So that kind of raised the signal that like, damn, like, you know, regardless of what background, whatever you came from, it's a very welcoming religion. Came in, sat down with Sheikh, and we talked for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we talked, and he told me like things about the soul, told me about things about like what it means after this, how this life is a test. And it brought me more bliss, because like realizing like this is not it, you know, this is just the test. So like that opened me up. Instead of being scared, I'm a very optimistic person.
Yeah.
I'm an optimistic contrarian, meaning that like I like to go against, but still optimistic about the path forward. And it raised bliss because it's like, damn, like this is not it. All the suffering here is not it.
Correct. Yeah.
But
were those sort of the answers that you was looking for in that time when you were having those deep thoughts and in those alone times and that? You know, like what is the meaning of life?
Yeah.
And like what is there to life after this world?
Yeah. Yeah. It answered those. I read books about them too. But to like after that 20 minutes, I realized it was 2 hours. And then that night I came to Islam, and that was 2 Ramadans ago. And then 3 weeks after I reverted, it was Ramadan. So I had a boot camp.
Yeah.
And
Straight to the deep end.
yeah, straight to the deep.
And just move the mic a bit closer.
Straight to the deep end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And how was it in terms of you know, breaking the news with family or even close friends?
Yeah. I kept it a secret a long time because it's very foreign for, you know, an Asian to be Muslim. Like I never heard such a thing. So it was definitely thoughts, right? Where it's like, yo, what if people know? Mum came from, you know, a background where she flew here for the sake of like me to, right? So to tell her, it felt like I was betraying her. You know, I felt like I was betraying her, like her family. And I there was a lot of like doubts towards like, you know, what if I was outcasted? You know what I mean? It's like a self-doubt thing. So I honestly kept it a secret for a while, and I honestly at that time I felt quite lonely.
Yep.
Because like Eid will come, and like you're all with the brothers, and then after when you're done, it can get lonely. Because you're like, okay, where do I fit in now? I don't fit in with, you know, these guys, but I don't fit in with like, you know, fully with these guys. So the same thing even in entrepreneurship, like when you're just starting, even with you boys, like, you know, you don't fit in with like the guys that you used to hang with, but then you don't hang out with like the high level elite. So you're kind of in this weird area. Yes, and that area is often the longest. So that was kind of where I was at until I started finding my feet and just like being comfortable with being lonely. So then
did that bring you closer as well to Allah and stuff?
Definitely.
Practicing?
Definitely.
Because you obviously felt like you're in this lonely period. There's not many close people around you. Like, yes, you're going to see the brothers, but
You know, in terms of close connections, there wasn't many. You probably found opportunities.
Yeah. It definitely brought me closer because I was able to build that mental resilience, able to like, build discipline towards like, okay, the fear is the path forward. Like whatever I feared, I had to go to it. Because at the end of that time, like that's what I needed, and that's what I built when like growing up towards like even religion. Like, okay, if I feared going to to learn something, I probably should learn it.
Yeah.
If I feared like running, I probably should do it. If I feared like fighting and getting knocked out, I probably should do it.
The resistance.
Yeah. Even like recording content, if I feared it, it's probably something I needed to do. Yeah.
There's a reason why your body or yourself, your nafs, is running against it or going against the grain and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So then what was those experiences like in like 3 weeks? First Ramadan comes through after like reverting. Like, could you draw us a picture? Because for the people that don't know the experience, you know? Because where we come from, obviously, is that of Ramadan being a community time. You know, everyone comes closer, at suhoor with the family, iftar with the family, Tarawih with the community, Eid and all that kind of stuff. What was like that transitioning like phase, if you could draw the picture for it?
Yeah, definitely. It'll be like suhoor alone, iftar alone. Some nights you have those like big ones, so it'll be like a high, like with the brothers, and then one night it would just be like eating by yourself. But that was normal for me. Like, I'm not saying that it was, I say alhamdulillah, I was able to eat, like iftar and break fast and have that opportunity, but it was just like, by myself. And one thing that I learned being like, 3 weeks in Muslim and then hop straight into Ramadan was that like learning about, how shaitan is locked up, because like coming into Islam, it's like you have to wrap your head around this woo-woo.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to believe in the unseen.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously, like growing up, you believe in the seen. Whatever you believe in is what you see. And Islam, it's a big thing about we believe in the unseen. So it's about like, morphosizing into that. So when shaitan was locked up, I had a realization that all these negativity, or anything that I do, I can't blame it on the devil. It was actually like within me. It was within my soul. So that's the realization that Ramadan was perfect because I was able to like revert. I already cleansed myself when reverting. Then boom, back into like a month of cleansing, and I hopped out like like a different man.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Did that solidify your reversion as well?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like 2 months after I went to Umrah.
The Al-Haramain. That's not the Al-Haramain.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the Al-Haramain one.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
Bro, has it been 2 years since they done that one?
Has it?
Yeah, it has.
Time flies, wallah, subhanAllah.
Because I remember seeing that daily.
Yeah.
And obviously, like the healthy FOMO as well. We got FOMO hard.
Yeah. Oh, you guys were about to come?
No, as in like once we saw the videos, it's too late, and we're like, oh, well, that would have been nice, type of thing.
Yeah.
And there's something about a Umrah group when you go with like a group of boys, like there's nothing better.
Yeah.
Like you're traveling, which is a perk in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going like for a spiritual retreat, which is good for the soul. And then you're just having fun at the same time because there's the moments in between, like when you're doing the spiritual side of things and when you're traveling.
And you're just creating deeper connections.
Yeah.
Meet new people, this, that, And there was a variety of people on that trip as well,
Yeah.
Jake Matthews was on that trip as well.
Oh, Jake Matthews? No, I don't think that one.
Okay, he was on the one
after that. Yeah. But you're totally right, man. It's like the energy, even if you go, regardless if it's Saudi or if you just fly, like you have a new found of energy that you just want to explore. Plus the brotherhood they said, plus the air is different in Mecca and Medina, right?
Yeah.
Like the vibration, the frequency is just different in the air.
Yeah.
So, that's like running on double XP week, bro. You know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah. It is, bro. You start, you get a different amount of energy over there. And then there's a high that you come back with afterwards,
Yeah.
Speaking of traveling, do you travel much? Have you traveled much?
Yeah. I just came back from Bali.
Bali, nice.
Yeah, so we had a business trip. We basically flew, like our like members and our teams is like quite like everywhere. We have some people from US, some from Vietnam, some from, so we flew everyone down together and we just masterminded, and like masterminding for like this year.
So then, how was your experience with Umrah since it was the first time? I can imagine overwhelming in a way because how busy it is as well,
Mhm.
and even just I guess the idea of seeing people from all parts of the world come for one reason. How was that experience for you?
It was like a paradigm shift, meaning that like when I got there, I saw people that it reconfirmed to me that like, you know, there was Asian, there was British, there was blacks, there was whites, there was like everyone was in unity, and something is just different there. Like I believe, like I told you, I used to be very spiritual, so I looked into vibrations and frequency. Like you can tell is different there. Like for example, like how to put a story that is like, for example, bees.
Yeah.
Right, bees have a certain vibration when they fly. That's how they have the honeycomb, because the air is different. It vibrates. That's how they're able to form that. It's same thing with in Mecca.
Yeah.
The Adhan, the people in worship. It's the same thing. The air is different. Same thing with in horror. Like your parents tell you horror stories. They tell you like this place is haunted, probably because someone did some bad things there. That's why the energy in that building is different, right? Like it's why there's like a haunted energy. So same thing with like Mecca. Like the air is like on helium. You know what I mean? Like everything feels light.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Crack infused almost.
Yeah.
In a halal army. No, Medina's the same thing too. And fun enough you say that, it's like you go on an Umrah experience and then obviously you go to Makkah. Yeah. That's where obviously you're going to go do your Umrah. But then the complete opposite, you go to Medina and they're complete two different vibes. Medina's like a bit still, you know, it's calm and you feel the tranquility in the air, you know. You get that sort of sense in Mecca, but it's like fast paced. There's a lot happening.
Yeah.
Everyone's not tawaf at 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, Ibadah, like straight
Ibadah, yeah.
Straight Ibadah. Yeah.
And then you feel it as well in the way that the city's set up, in a bit more rougher. You know, the people, there's a bit of hustle and bustle going on to it as well. So I mean, you're right. It is completely different.
Yeah.
You know?
Personally, I liked Mecca more.
You like Mecca more?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How's
yeah.
that?
And I have the same reaction as you. I thought I would like Medina more once I was there, but Mecca was just like it was the right type of pressure.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and it's that like you're redlining.
Yep.
And you take a reset and you're like, okay, cool. Like I knew my no standards. The red line, like you're able to operate with the healthy amount of stress.
That's true.
And I feel like that's where, you know, I'm meant to be. I feel like any time where there's like, it's like you do, you know, jiu-jitsu as well, right? Like where you feel like the pressure, you're like, yeah, this is where I need to be. You get hit in the face, you're like, okay, cool. It's where
you embrace it.
Yeah.
When you get smashed, you realize, it's because of me.
Yeah.
I didn't work hard enough to be where I need to be in order to compete at that level. I know what you mean. It's
exactly.
Yeah.
So that self accountability to execute at a high standard. Yeah. And the Medina was just bliss. Like it's like, you know,
Relaxation.
Yeah.
Feel
It's so
Yeah.
Sit back at the masjid.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, that's perfect. You know, but I think that's a great balance. It's like
it's good contrast. It is. Yeah.
it's like the dunya version of like, okay, hustle here,
yeah,
and then go to Thailand to chill. Same thing. You know what I mean? Like one's like getting money, one's relaxing on the beach, by
not doing as much. Yeah.
It's two complete different vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
But you need both. Yeah.
Did you end up getting sick while you were over there or not?
Yeah, of course we were.
Okay.
Of course.
That's the standard.
Yeah, of course. At the start, I was like, man, why am I sick for? You know what I mean? Like, I'm here. Like, but I realized that, you know, Sheikh told me that, like, it's a forgiveness from Allah. So, like, it's beautiful. Islam is so beautiful where, like, every single thing is, like, everything has khair in it.
Yeah.
Where, like, for a Muslim, it's good.
Yes.
So, it's like a sign of forgiveness that, you know, I mean, it's like all the toxins are coming out, you know, maybe inside, but we don't realize, like, physically as well. So I did get sick, and it's funny because I got sick before I got to Mecca. So the day after I was like a 9 out of 10 sick. I was like,
oh yeah,
fluids were coming out like no tomorrow.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I made dua, and then within 18 hours, boom, it was done. Like I felt like amazing again. So it was like, yeah.
It's that's the thing about Islam as well. It's like, it's how you look at things, and everything that you look at, there's always good behind it. You know, like you get sick, there's good behind it. That problem happened. Like let's say you about to get in a car accident. You know, that prevented you probably from something worse. It's how you look at every situation, and that's why you constantly like teaches you, you know, like having good thoughts constantly, regardless even on your brother,
Definitely.
whoever you surround yourself with, you know,
Definitely.
which makes a different aspect to it all. But I want to get on to the hustle bustle that you talk about a lot.
Yep.
You know, I see this as a common theme in your personality and stuff. Obviously, for those that don't know, you're a successful barber. Allah Mubarak.
Alhamdulillah.
But what I want to ask is, you said we when you went to Bali.
Mhm.
You know, who's we and what do you get up to?
Yeah. So
For those that don't-
basically, yeah, we're basically a like barbering coaching company where we help other barbers scale to like build their business, and like scale their team. Because a lot of barbers, like, we often start off like, you know, themselves, and they have a lot of drive, a lot of hunger, but they just need the steps in order to like take it to the next level. So essentially, with the team, we have a lot of head coaches in there that help with our members. So we've been able to grow our members. Like, we started this like 5 months ago. We have about like 100 members in that we're coaching intimately.
that want to be barbers,
No, that are barbers that are like
trying to
making.
scale their business up to another level.
Yeah.
Nice.
Alhamdulillah, we've been able to help like 20% of them, which is like 20 of them,
Yeah.
go to like 17K USD plus
Wow.
from like 5K.
Monthly.
Monthly to about 17. So alhamdulillah, it's very beautiful because our mission behind that is the Prophet ﷺ said, one who satiates someone's hunger, remove their troubles, that's the most beloved person to Allah. And for you to do something for another brother and help them is the most beloved deed to Allah. And that's one of our company missions, is to do it for the sake of Allah, to help people that we know we can help, because we've done it for so many, and myself as well. So that's our mission. And for this team that you say, we have, you know, obviously editors, we have the head coach, we have admissions, and we basically mastermind to see how we can consistently improve to take it to the next notch. Yeah.
If we were to draw it back a little bit, yeah, the field of being a barber, yeah, where did that all come from?
Yep.
Because you think of businesses, you think of entrepreneurial ideas. It's not one of those things that sort of come together, right?
Yeah.
So there's obviously some sort of genius behind it, Allah Mubarak, you know. But how did that come out to be? Because obviously you were a barber.
Yep.
You still do barbering.
Yep.
But when did you pick up your first clippers?
Where this come from? Yeah.
To now, like, help
So
people make 17K,
Yeah.
like, scaling their business, you know?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I came out the womb with some clippers.
Yeah.
Started that early. Yeah. Well, honestly, how it is when I first started barbering, it was during a time where it was COVID, right? And during then, it was super busy. It's not super busy. It was like locked.
Yeah.
Sorry. Everything was locked. And I realized that, like, what can I start?
Okay.
What did I start? And everyone was going insane. Like, there was no shops, right? So I started picking up my own clippers, and I started like cutting friends, and I started charging, and I like, because that's what you could do then, right?
Yeah.
But I want to hit this point home, is that, like, I remember when I first started getting haircuts, I used to love my cuts, right? I used to, like, even if it was a bad haircut, I loved it, because it's like, you had nothing to compare it with, you know what I mean? Like, in terms of, like, even if it was bad, you still looked away fresh. So I felt like I had so much trust towards him. I felt, I enjoyed my time there, you know, despite, like, you know, others. And I lost sense because growing up, there wasn't many barbers anymore that were that good. And I was trying to find the right one, right? I was trying to find the right one. When I found the right one, it's these two twins in Hallam, right? It's like 16th most dangerous city. So I used to take trips when I was 14 on the bus with the boys, went there. And they were very expensive at the time. They were like, you know, $30, $35 for a haircut. And during then, haircuts were like $15, right?
The good days.
Yeah. And I was still like made my way there to get it. And when I got my haircut with them, they were so like chill. They had like the car already at 20 years old. They had a house already at 21 years old. Owned a shop. Lived life on their own term. In the shop, it was just vibes. It's just like you're chilling with the boys. And I was like, bro, like these guys get paid to live like this. They get paid to like have basically like freedom, right? Like hanging out with the boys. So I thought like I was very these guys have like a really good job. So I was like, I got inspired by that, and I started my own thing. I quickly realized that everything that I hoped for was true, because you're able to develop so many skills, because one, you develop your communication skills, your social skills.
That's true.
You're able to manage your time, your bookings, interactions with clients, and making sure that they feel important, they feel serviced, and they feel satisfied in order to come back. So you're a good service provider. You develop business acumen. You understand that you have to get clients, meaning you have to put your work out there.
Yeah.
So it's a fine balance between like servicing people and getting, more business. So, and how that journey started was like Alex Hormozi.
That's our guy, man.
Yeah.
That's our guy. Glorious King.
Yeah, man. When you think about it, he scaled a gym that is considered unscalable. And like, obviously I've met him, and he sent me a very wise lesson that nothing is unscalable. You are unscalable. You think something unscalable because you have to put more time in it, but that's the price of success. Nothing exceptional takes a little time. So the limiting belief that I had was that barbering was unscalable because I'm trading time for money. But why is it with like, Supercuts and like all these like franchise haircuts, it's $1 billion company? Why? It's literally the belief of our own. So I saw that, and I was like, dude, barbering is like a vehicle, and like have to become the driver to drive it. In these days, there's so many vehicles. There's like this business model, but at the end of the day, you have to be the person, the driver, in order to drive it. If the car is manual, you have to be able to drive manual to get there. So barbering is no different. It's I found like basically potential in it, and I came with a crossroad of radiation science, because I studied really hard in year 12, or barbering, right? And I could have taken that safe job, $250 a year, $250K a year, or barbering, which was like but I saw potential in it, and I believe that barbering is such an untapped market where we've seen the last 2-3 years where it's gone.
It changes heaps.
Yeah. And we're always 10 years, 5 years behind America. Shoes, they were in shoes in the 2000s. They were already rocking Jordan. Now we just started wearing dunks and wearing like all these shoes.
Yeah.
Music was like crazy there. And then this trend is there. We're always 5 to 10 years.
Facts.
Right? So we're always trying to play catch up. So same thing as in barbering. It hasn't fruitfully grown because spotlight only came in 5 years ago. So I believe we're in a gold rush of barbers, because now instead of barbers, they're seen as highly regarded professionals. They're seen as highly regarded advisors. And there's a difference. There's the normal like in and out barbers that do high volume, and that's just typical, right? Maybe 35 to 50, and then you have high ticket barbers, barbers that are just as a percentile. Same thing as if you went to a car cleaner and they had, a normal service. You drive into the thing and it automatically does it, or you get a professional guy cleaning Lamborghinis. It's the same thing. Maybe there's less Lamborghini guys cleaning that, but there's a market for it.
It's
So
what,
you can choose.
Yeah, it's what the people are looking for as well. Because I feel like this day and age, like in terms of with social media, appearance is such a valuable thing, where it's like people have to go to find a barber and stick with it, because they're too scared to go to someone else because of the possibility of not looking good, and then it just ruins everything.
Definitely. People want to feel secure.
Yeah.
They want to feel secure, and nowadays security, that is the symptom of the attention economy now.
Yeah.
The attention economy has created a problem called insecurity. So nowadays, the appearance and the first impressions, that is valued a lot higher now, right? So therefore, barbering is, if you position yourself well, you can be a barber that just cuts hair, or you can be a barber that solves a problem. right? And if you show that you can solve a problem, you're able to position yourself to become a more higher service.
When you were at the crossroad where you were talking about the radiation science and barbering, what was that? What was the biggest contributing factor to your why? To go down that route, to hop into that vehicle and pursue that side of things,
Yep.
Because at the time you wouldn't have known a lot of this.
Yep.
It still would have been, and you would have had people doubting you.
Yeah.
And Alex Hormozi speaks about this as well, the lonely chapter, that period of time where you see like fruit in something, but you can't explain it to those that are around you.
Yeah.
So what was it that thing in that moment was like, nah, I'm gonna double down on this,
Yep. Definitely.
Watch me and my clippers.
Yep. It was the ceiling cap. It's like, okay, when I analyzed two paths, one was my scholarship, like fully paid scholarship, go into there, because I didn't have money to go to, like, pay like hundreds of thousands for that. I had to get the scholarship in order to make it work. It was, okay, what I did was I went into there and I looked at what were they actually doing? What were therapists? What were they actually doing? These medical, like, surgeons, did they actually like it? So I actually went in to see. I actually got a scan myself just to suss it out. But it just seemed like, once you hit a point and you hit like the comfortable, like making 250, it didn't seem fulfilling. Like, I came into it because I wanted to help people. It's always been my nature to, like, inspire or help or, relieve one problem for someone. And whether it'd be like, imagine if I was able to cure someone's grandpa and then they're able to save, or come up with a cure. That was really fulfilling to me. I went in and it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It was very, dull.
That must have been very disappointing to go in and...
Yeah, because I studied, like, so much for it.
And it's like an actual potential path for you. And it's like, you go in and it's like, is that it? Type of thing.
Yep. So, and then I went into, like, the business side of barbering. And I like, just myself, for like 6 months, 8 months, I dedicated and put time into it. And I'd be able to have this result just by myself. And I looked like there was so much more ways I could improve in terms of being even a socially capable person to service a client. That has translated into me being able to network and meet you guys, meet people like Alex Hormozi, meet like highly $100 million entrepreneurs, being in rooms just because I developed the skills behind barbering. Just one aspect alone. The ability to be on this podcast and speak, like, eloquently, alhamdulillah. And then the ability to capture work. Nowadays, the attention economy. Barbering was the vehicle to be able to start pointing the camera. You don't have to point the camera yourself first.
Yeah.
If you're introvert, shy, there's no excuses. So now you're able to start learning how to create things that people want to watch, like this show. You're able to have client management, right? Manage your schedule, right? You're not managing your schedule anymore. You have to manage, like, multiple people. So you're getting 8 to 12 reps of clients coming in a day. People only see and have conversations with 3 people a week. Like, for you to get, like, nowadays there's like cold approaching and, like, trying to improve your network and, like, there's like challenges to go up to cashier, ask for a discount. The people have to go actively out there. We get 8 opportunities a day. Right?
With your clients.
Yeah. So I still think that barbers now, like, they've bottled themselves into thinking that barbering is just a side hustle.
Yeah.
Where in reality, it's no different to Alex Hormozi's gym, like, story. How did he make gyms? They profit like 15% margins, 20% margins, and, like, the gym model is, like, unscalable, but he made it work. So there's no reason why barbering is the same business model. It's a service-based business as well.
Correct.
So that's why when I faced radiation science and uni like scholarship and going into, like, even potentially I wanted to get an MBA, I'd go into, like, like Harvard or Stanford, or going into barbering.
Yeah.
I just felt like this was that I could make results straight away and, like, get into business instead of studying for 4 years to get into, like, let's say, running my own clinic. It would take me 12 years to run your own clinic.
To get to that point, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So at 30 years old to start making money is like, by the time I want to be able to, you know, like be good enough to like, you know, be by myself with this. I'll be good on this side. So that's why I was like, this is a no-brainer to go all in on barbering.
So,
Go ahead.
okay. So I wanted to know. So obviously, alhamdulillah, you took the path of barbering, which I assume not easy telling your parents.
Yeah.
You know, medical school or barbering. It's
Yeah.
outside already. I can't imagine convincing my parents for barbering. But I'm glad you see the fruits now. So how was it in terms of the moment of thinking, I can start charging people 100 plus?
Yep. That's a great question. Like, it sounds ridiculous.
And,
You know, it honestly sounds ridiculous because at the time I thought it was like far-fetched. If I got to 50, 60, I'm good, right? Like, or maybe 70, like that's enough. And it's really, if you're a person that cuts hair, then you're just a barber. But if you're a person that solves a problem, you become an advisor. You become a person that provides value. So at the end of the day, business is just a core concept of solving one problem. And if you can solve one problem in a good way, people will pay for it.
Correct, yeah.
And that problem in barbering could be confidence issue. It could be achieving them a result that transformed them. You have to associate, like, what does this haircut signify? For example,
I see.
this haircut relates to you performing better at work.
Yeah.
I had, you know, real estate salesmen. I've had the doctors come in, and when you create your content, it's just strategic content, like creation. It's you putting on and you're asking questions that lead them to the right answer that gets people to signify that your haircut is associated towards higher value than just a haircut. So, for example, if a client comes in, right?
Yeah.
If you're like one of my clients, I'll be like, I had the camera on. I'll be like, yeah, man. Like, so you say you're a salesman for at a car dealership. So, do you feel like, you know, when you have a haircut, you perform better, and you look good, you perform better?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you be like, yeah, man. Like, I feel like, you know, if I don't have a haircut, like I can't sell as well. Like, I'm just more confident, and words just come out. So, do you feel like, you know, the haircut positions you to enable you to sell more cars and eventually make more money? And it's like, yeah, true. Like,
Yeah.
so when you do it like that, you're positioning the haircut as value. So now when people see that, I'm like,
Did
damn.
the camera turn off?
Yeah, and I assume as well, like once they start saying yes a few times, they're thinking, oh, this guy understands me. This guy knows where I'm coming from or what I'm looking for. And that's where the connection starts to grow.
Exactly. If you understand their problem, you're able to fix it better. Yeah. So if you understand, and this goes for any business, like you have to understand your audience and how they feel, what they believe, and you present to them something that can help them. That ultimately brings value, because value is created when pain is alleviated. So if you can alleviate a pain for them, people will pay for that. So what $35 barbers are alleviating is the pain of convenience. That's a great, like, there's people out there, I need quick. And the thing with those guys is that obviously they want it fast. Oftentimes they're more, like you said, they're more picky, or they're like, but the pain of like a high ticket barber is the one that can provide them a result that increases them in status. At the end of the day, truth be told, it's always people want to seek status. So regardless of if it's like when they come in, you walk into a room, it's the first thing you see.
Yeah.
You know, so you want to appear well. Even like your page could be seen as a status booster. Like if they're hopping onto your page, they're seen in a higher status. So at the end of the day, there's always a social hierarchy in a room.
Bro, you see it from a very young age, you know? Like I even remember myself, like my parents or my mom specifically was notorious for giving me a buzz cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Easy, convenient,
Yeah.
and like bang. But going back to school, like, because that would be on a Sunday, going back to school on a Monday with a buzz cut from the boys, you're getting demolished. You're getting smacked. You know what I mean? You're getting roasted, you know? hairline this, that, you know, the whole lot.
Yeah.
And then there was nothing more than when you got to the age where you could start to pick your own haircut.
Yeah.
You know, because now you could come back to school next week and own it.
Yeah.
You know, and even nowadays you still see it as well. Like I wouldn't say inherently like I go and get haircuts to feel confident, but I can't deny the fact that when I go get a haircut, I feel better.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm that guy. Like no one can tell me they walked away from a haircut and be like I'm not that guy. You know, especially like a good haircut.
Yeah.
Then the question you ask yourself is, what would you pay for that haircut?
Yep.
You know, but you don't look at it that way. You know, I remember I used to think like haircuts. I was saying this literally on the episode of Tolfiq. You know Tolfiq, yeah?
I don't.
No, we'll meet him. We'll introduce.
Yeah.
You got to introduce me.
We've got to
Yes, definitely.
100%. And we were speaking about that on that episode. We were like, oh, haircuts used to be like $10 back in the days, you know? And now the idea of getting charged for $100 in the city and making a whole situation out of it is like absolutely like
Insane. Yeah.
But what I love that you've done as well is to that next level. You know, you've made social media content out of it, you know, and not just any type of social media content that's captivating, engaging, and an audience will be like, oh, let me actually like tap into this. Where does the idea of that come behind, you know?
Yep. Definitely. It's essentially like when you're in the chair with your client, it's 1-to-1. But when you're on social media, it's 1-to-many. So you're simply at scale can be able to speak that same thing that I had that conversation with you at a larger scale. So social media is enables you to have more eyes in a way where it's more effective to branch out. So just like how when you solve a problem to one client and they're really satisfied, like, damn, bro, like, thanks, man. I really appreciate this cut. And like, you know, I've been able to get this result. Like I had a job promo. I had a lot of compliments in it. That's only in 1-to-1. It stays in the chair, it stays in this room. But because we're talking about it now, just like how this podcast, we're speaking and we can have a crazy conversation, but if the camera's not on, it stays in this conversation and the memory gets lost. Now, when the camera's on, you're able to capture it, and now other people can experience the same feeling that we're experiencing in this room.
Right.
There's no difference between in barbering. You just got to know, like every single barber, they're cool guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could just speak and they're just cool guys and we're naturally, you know, chill. So if you are able to, like that barber has moments where they have good talks with their clients. You know, like they're chilling, they're talking, they're laughing. Simply, content creation is just being able to create those moments with the camera on.
Correct.
That's really what it is, right? Is you're recreating that vibe on camera. And you could be like, yeah, man, I'm acting, I'm doing this. But it's really not that deep. It's just the camera is just a metal box. It's a fly on the wall and it just has a like red button on it.
Yeah.
Right? People just start getting weird when they're on camera, but that's totally fine. I was like really awkward on camera as well until you develop a muscle that you just realize that it's just a metal box.
Correct.
So social media is anyone with a mind in 2025 understands that every big brands are using like UGC social media content to be able to get tap into the market,
Grow their business.
Yep.
That's a big factor as well. But then, so why did you record your content? Was it for the business aspect of it all, or was it for the enjoyment of just recording content for the sake of it, you know?
Yep. It was one, business, to enable to, grow my business, scale my business. And two, it was the creative outlet. When you're creating like a beautiful piece, like I loved editing. I loved editing. I used to have a very creative field. Like before all of this, I actually used to be like a dancer.
Okay.
And I used to build a lot. So I loved creating something. At the start, it's like, oh man, there's so much to do. There's so much to edit. But when you fully put it together and you create something that's yours with how you like it, with your colors that you do, even if it performs well or not, if it's 300 views that you're that's 300 people seeing that. So content creation is a very fast feedback loop where you post it, boom, you see it, like you analyze yourself. When you're like, let's say, posting on social media and you record it, you have to watch yourself again.
Yeah.
So you're able to self-critique faster.
Yeah.
So
That's the hardest part as well.
Yeah,
Watching yourself back.
Listening to your own voice, yeah.
exactly.
That's hard.
Exactly. But the more times you listen to it, the more times you're able to like, make those iterations.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that process, social media has been a game changer for any business.
Mm.
Yeah.
Let's talk Vegas.
Yep.
Where did it all start with the opportunity of, I seen the Skool games, and if you can explain exactly what the Skool games are, how the opportunity came about, where did it all start with that?
Yeah. So essentially, like, how it started was my cutting career. Like, I was essentially the barber that was cutting hair, and I've been able to, alhamdulillah, make like a successful like business in that alone. And then I just had I was making around like 25K like during the time, alhamdulillah. And then like I just had I've been able to help people for free. Like my people around my area, and I've been able to help a lot of brothers in my area, like just for free, because I wanted to see them grow. Because it's in my nature. Because then I was like, I had a nature of just helping people. I was often captain of like my school a lot, and I was also like captain of like basketball teams. So I had a sense that I really liked to give it to people so that they can get the result. And like I just had so many people ask, like, yo, bro, like I just had a queue of a wait list, and that's when I had my shift, when I was like, damn, like I wanted to become a radiation therapist because I wanted to help people. I wanted to go in barbering because I like business. So I ditched the helping thing and I went into business. But now I'm able to bring that back into and form the full puzzle. And all of this happened because after my reversion, all these like things started clicking. Like, it was after my reversion, then that's when all the business, like when you see my face online, that's where it happened. So had that calling, came in, I was like, bro, we should do this. Like, Skool just opened up. Alex Hormozi, I read his books. And
For those that don't know what Skool is, could you explain it to the audience just a little bit?
Skool.com is basically a platform that's a community that hosts like training, education for different niches. So, for example, there could be like how to start like a podcast, how to it's like informal education. Formal education would be uni, but this one is by people that's actually done it. That attracted me a lot more, because sometimes in uni, like, you're learning from a business professor that hasn't even started a business. You're learning from someone that's actually done it. So I went into school, and I started my own community, and it started off with just a small group, and I wanted to make sure that I can help these people first, and I did it for free. And that group, we had 3 of them hit. One of them hit 28K USD. One of them went from 600 followers to 200K followers. Hoku, Brooklyn, he was in South Africa. He was making like 3K. Now he's like 12, right? And we started off for free. So that's when I was able to validate that, like, who's this like Asian guy, he's 21, like helping other people, like, you know what I mean? I wanted to validate, show that I can help people.
Correct.
And then we started it, and alhamdulillah, we went to the top 10 of that Skool platform, which is owned by Alex Hormozi, a pretty high level entrepreneur. And because we hit top 10, we got an invitation to fly out to the headquarters and run a mastermind.
All paid for?
It was the flight, wasn't it? But like the accommodation and everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And in Vegas, we went there. And
What's the smile?
Yeah, tell us, bro. I can imagine there's a lot going through your mind now.
Yeah.
Especially in like the type of person you've changed.
Yep.
Over time.
Yep, definitely. How I like to think about it is, like, you see Vegas is like this big thing of like haram, hedonism. But I was actually quite pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
It's kind of like when you go to an area, and let's say you're in a bad area right now. Noble Park is the 14th most dangerous city in Australia.
Is that actually true? Is it?
Yeah.
Oosh.
Yeah. And like even Dandenong, or like let's say a place that is like, not well known.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. It's only if you look for it.
Correct. That's true.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're there and like everything's bad, but you're like, bro, nothing is quite chill.
Yeah.
It's because you're actively looking for it.
If you look for the high stuff, you find the high stuff easily.
Exactly. Yeah, it's right there.
It's like Bali's the exact same thing as well.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
100%. If you're looking for it, it's what your desires is calling for. So when I was there, I didn't have the intention. I knew it was going to be like, like seeing some things, but like God just puts a veil around that.
Right.
And like the boys were telling me like, yo, bro, like I see like, girls walking half naked, seeing this, but like for me, I didn't really see that for some reason. I think like, like God just put a veil and I was able to just experience all the good things.
And you're about to go see Alex Hormozi and you're on a business trip. Money's on your mind.
Yeah, it's true.
There's bigger desire.
There's greater things.
Yeah. But on the contrary, like obviously there's a lot of casinos, a lot of like,
Yeah.
a lot of, hedonism. But the people I was around, the entrepreneurs, like they were locked in. They were locked in and they were like operating at this level. And it's basically where you go is where you find out. Yeah.
What's that environment like to be in a place, in an environment with high level entrepreneurs, highly successful people? You earlier off the podcast, you mentioned how like Melbourne, there's all like this high poppy, what is it called?
Tall poppy syndrome.
Tall poppy syndrome, You go over to Vegas. What's that like?
Yep, definitely. The energy is different. Everyone's sharp, boom, boom. Whereas when you're back home, it's kind of just yourself. It's like maybe you're the only person doing whatever you're doing. And that's why it could feel lonely.
Correct.
That's why having like a network that operates at the same level as you, at a level where like you're not the tallest in the room.
Correct.
Like, there's room to grow. Therefore, you have that pressure to be able to like perform and actually like, soak in the knowledge. So getting yourself in a room, in a community, in a group of people that are on the same journey, have the same path as you, and have the same like goals as you, you're able to think more collaboratively. You're able to bounce ideas. What do you think about this? I have this problem. Oh, you've solved that problem? Okay, and then, like I have the problem. I have the solution to so we're bouncing ideas because in this world, we're not supposed to be alone.
No, we're not.
Like Michael didn't win without Scotty.
Yeah.
So I've quickly learned that the lone wolf era, like eventually ends. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because naturally you see with social media and the internet that you feel like you have to be yourself. You feel like you can take it all the way to wherever you want to get to by yourself. And it kind of pushes you towards that way because maybe, like we were saying about the lonely chapter, you kind of feel like you have to be the only person. But I can imagine bouncing off ideas with people. It's like, wow, these people are willing to just give everything and want the best for me.
100%. 100%. You're totally right with that. They say the lone wolf eats, but a wolf pack thrives. Right? So you're exactly right with that. Like, you're able to just operate at a different way.
Yeah.
Would you say that trip changed sort of like the direction of your entrepreneurship?
Yep.
In terms of, because when you're operating from Melbourne, from Australia, from Hallam, Noble Park, whatever, when you're operating from there, you're in this like sort of like echo chamber, I would say, in a way. But now that you've sort of expanded that echo chamber, now you're hearing different things and the way that different people operate. How does that have an impact in the way that sort of you work yourself as Hakeem,
What do you mean?
Sort of like, because if I'm doing a certain thing now, in a certain way, I shoot my podcast this way, I do it this way. Then I go over to Vegas and I see people are doing it differently, You draw different sort of inspiration because I'm not in the same constant echo chamber. How has that impacted you, hearing different things, seeing how people do things differently?
Yeah. Great question. It's like what I like to call the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Okay.
When you get into something, you're like, man, like, I know this, man. I know how to fight. I know how to fight. But then you go into the gym and you quickly get humbled because there's people better than you. And why is it that the person that is the top in the gym, he's the most humblest fighting, And why is it that the people that walk the nightclubs walk so with their chest high? Why is that? You know, it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The more you know something, the less you feel like you do know it. So it's the same thing with going into business. When you get into that room, you see multiple perspectives that your version that you think you're right is not. So that's why, like, I feel like people with knowledge and people that come up, they're the most humblest because they know they don't know everything. Same thing with the gym. When you go into the gym, like you start off with sets and reps. Then you go into, you're like, oh, damn. Now there's like splits. Okay, push, pulls, legs. Then you go into intensity. Then you go into isometric or eccentric and, and then you get into like different nutrition. So it gets more complex and more complex that you feel like you don't know everything. So going into that room, I made me realize that like there's no one size fits all.
Correct.
You know, you have to be able to collaborate. You have to be able to bounce ideas, because what I realized that everything that I've done so far, those same strategies of working harder, working this, it's not going to get me to the next level. What you did previously isn't going to work. So you have to consistently find new ideas, new strategies. And strategy just literally, it means prioritization. What are you going to prioritize? People throw this word strategy around, but it's just simply, okay, the top one thing gives me the highest return, so I'm going to prioritize that. So that's my strategy from now on. And people have different strategies, and when you talk to other people, you're able to shortcut the feedback loop and see what works for people, so then you're able to implement it into your own business. And it's so fruitful because once you see each other, you're in their contact. You know, you send them a video like, yo, what do you think of this? Oh, well, I think it would be better for you this. You know, you send them an idea. You send them, yo, I need some, like, I've got this staff that I want. But they help you, they plug you. So network is your net worth. You know, that's a big realization for me that I realized. So therefore, me creating that group and that mentorship, I'm able to create that group, and just every time that we meet up 4 or 5 times a week with our community, everyone's just locked in. Everyone has the same goal. This question answers the other people's question that gives everyone value. So we're able to operate like this, and shortcut there.
And that sort of changes your perspective, which sort of leads you towards what you should actually be prioritizing as well. And the network thing is a big thing. That's, I would say, would be one of probably the best things about running this podcast. Bro, literally the best things, because I'm like, speaking on my behalf, I love nothing more than a good conversation. And then now you get to have a good conversation with people from all different walks of life. Like if you told me 6 years ago when we started the podcast, would I be speaking to a barber that cuts hair for $300? But I'd be like, right, who cuts hair for $300, you know? Then you gain insight and you're like, damn, the world's actually just an interesting spot, you know? And that sort of expands the way that you think. Your perspective on things change now.
That was one of the excuses why we started. An excuse to get in the room of high valued people.
Amazing.
Because obviously we looked at ourselves, we're just starting, we're just a bunch of boys, but it gives us the excuse to be able to sit down with high valued people. And just amazing to see in the past few years.
Dude, that's so true, because without all this, I can even think in this room alone, like the brother that came with me, my friend, we wouldn't have met if we didn't have networked.
Correct.
He wouldn't, I wouldn't have reverted if I didn't network. I wouldn't have come to God if I didn't network. If I wouldn't have met you, if the brother that recorded the videography for me didn't
put it out there.
Project us, right? So even about, that's the things that we know. Imagine the things that we don't know behind the scenes. So people like to talk about referrals. They talk about referrals is really good, but networking is just shortcutting referral. This is level 2 of referrals.
Facts. Instead of going out and actually seeking it, it's like, hey, it's handed on to you. It's fully play as well.
Exactly.
And I feel like also you got to be open-minded as well. That's the other thing. Where going back to the entrepreneurship and going to Vegas and stuff, it's like you got to be optimistic in acknowledging that this is a problem. How can I best solve this? There's always going to be sort of problems. Same thing with the inspiration with the podcast side of things. It's like you've got to be open-minded and willing to be inspired in order to be your best version. You know, and some people are just comfortable just being who they are. You know, the nice thing to say is there's nothing wrong with that. I personally think there is something wrong with that. You know, but each to their own. You know,
Yeah.
And you know that's one of the nice things as well. Going back to your original story as well, it's like Islam has that, whereas that concept of that third place. You know, because I think about it to myself. Yeah, like if I was a Muslim, what would I be doing? You know, I'd be probably going to work. Probably, if I did jiu-jitsu, let's say I didn't. Yeah. Probably going to work, family, and then there's just that other extra third thing, you know? Whereas like the masjid gives you that sense of a community in a world that is so individual, you know? Where it's like you're on a bus, you go to work on the car on your own, you know, everything is like on your own. Whereas the masjid gives you that place where you just naturally network, you know? But you're all here for a common goal.
100%. Like the masjid and the mosque, the place of prayer, like it hit me like a curveball because I was like, everyone's just nice, and I think like just how it is, everyone's just chill, and you know, like just brothers that hang around. One thing I was like, damn, like, you know, there's a lot of like overweight brothers. You know, I was like, yo,
overweight.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, like I think they just chill.
Yes.
Until it hit me a curveball where I was like, there was a charity, right? And the charity came and people were putting their hand up. 5K, 12K, 30K over here. People just donating. But you come in and you just think it's just like overweight, like believers, just like, you know, just chill guys, you know.
Yeah.
But I never knew, like 3-4 months in, I never knew people in here are killers.
Yeah.
I never knew that. And I thought, like, damn, like, there's people in here that are so humble that when I shake their hand, I don't even know, there's no sense of greed. Right? And that was beautiful to me because I was like, there's no, you know, arrogance. They simply just make halal income and like don't boast it or don't, you know. And that was very eye-opening for me. Yeah.
So we want to know your legacy. And we understand your why now, hearing your story, obviously your trip to Bali, we're about to give a lot of members. What's the end goal? What's, not giving too much away, I guess, because maybe you're not a person that likes to tell the public too much about your personal goals or whatnot. But what's the legacy you'd love to leave behind? You got a younger brother as well. I guess that's part of it too.
Yep. Yeah. So my 3-year vision is to be able to revolutionize the barber industry, create a clear and repeatable path for success in barbering, and switch it to turn service providers into highly regarded professionals. 3-year goal, my 5-year goal is to be able to like build a place of prayer, create, like use my earnings to give back, right? Like that's always been the mission of one who satiates or removes someone's struggles. That's what I want to do. That's the 5-year. I want to like give back and give charity. And then my 10-year, like maybe even build like a school, build like a, you know, school, or, you know, who knows, like that's what I want right now. But I know like that's the big plan, but I know like the many things to get there.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the many things, how much do you believe in goals? Like goal setting, and all that, you know?
Yeah, I believe in goal setting.
Yeah. Is there a way you set goals? Like how do you sort of work, you know?
Yeah. So when you set goals, it has to be attainable.
Attainable, yeah.
Like I'd rather set goals that I know I can hit, rather than a goal that I don't, like it's too far-fetched that I get discouraged. Because what most people do and why people fail at and get dismotivated and burn out is because they have too high expectations, right? It's great to have high expectations. Like if you shoot for the moon and you fail, you land among the stars.
Right.
But you shouldn't shoot like that at the start. At the start of your career, you should just get mini wins. Yeah. Okay, cool. I only posted 1 time this week. Let me try 2 next week, right? Don't aim for 7 straight in a row because it's just not realistic. Once you get in momentum where you're able to, it's just out of reach that you can hit it, then you aim for the moon. So that's why I believe in goal setting, where 1, it has to be attainable. 2, it has to be specific. Okay, a lot of people ask me, like, I wanna lose weight.
Yeah.
Okay, how much? What's the measurables? Okay, by when? Right? So you have to actually put a deadline on it. Like humans, we operate with urgency. We have to hit a date by this time.
Right.
So by when? Measurable. Okay, by how much?
Yeah.
So goal setting has been the thing where you have to write down as well. Even in like the first ever word that came down before, like Angel Gabriel said to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, read. But before that even is that Allah used the pen, right? He says that the pen was actually the first thing. So that's very powerful because it tells us to write. Whatever we want, we have to write it down. Because now that thought and that idea now becomes a reality. And you can physically see it. And you can say, yeah, hocus pocus, write it down.
Yeah.
But it's one step closer in the spectrum of thought to it happening. You're one step closer.
Sure, it's no longer dreams.
Yeah.
It's more likely a reality. Is that something you do? You actually write down and everything?
Yeah. So
Nice.
quarterly, I have like a monthly.
Yep.
So, okay, every year I do a reflection
Nice.
on like my 5 areas of life. It'd be first is like self-mastery. Then it'd be my health and performance. Then it'd be business, family, and then my religion. So I analyze, those are my pillars of my life. And I analyze each area.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Self-mastery, how many books am I reading? What are my channels of consumption? My health and performance. How many times am I going to the gym? Is it realistic to go this time? My family. Okay. How much time am I contributing to the time that I'm with my mom and my family? How much time am I contributing to mentoring my little brother?
Yeah.
In terms of like my business, what are my projections for this year? Who do I want to excel? And the last one is what's my last one?
So
Yeah, one of it's my last one. I forgot it. But that's my yearly one.
Correct.
Then I have a quarterly.
Yep.
And then I have a monthly. And then it's just like each time it gets shorter and shorter in terms of the obviously yearly one's longer. But the weekly one, I do a weekly reflection.
Yeah.
Because the review process is where you actually grow.
it's true.
Just like how we said about like being in a community, you bounce ideas because you're reviewing, right? When you watch yourself back in this podcast, it hurts, but it's reviewing. When you look at your personal statement sheet and you're tracking your finances, it hurts, but you're reviewing. So that process of reviewing is what ultimately you're able to see the spots and weaknesses and strengths.
Correct.
Same thing in chess.
Yeah.
Chess is the exact same thing. You have to be able to sit down and do those hard, like long hours of just analysis, right? In a game, it takes like 30 minutes, but analysis takes hours, and that's where you grow. So that's simply just playing the game, you will stay at the same level.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then redirecting, going up from the next bit, having a bit of growth from there. How about visualization, like tactics like that? Do you use stuff like that as well?
Yeah, when I was in COVID, I did a lot of that.
Visualization.
Yeah.
At the start.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
I simply just imagined myself already having it.
Nice.
Yeah, I just imagine like what do it feel like, and there's a lot of hocus pocus towards it. Like, yeah, I already got it. It's manifestation, but it's like it's a technique that enables you to put yourself in there before you even get it.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's how I like to think about visualization. Is, for example, when I was in my first fight, I learned that you have to, instead of preparing yourself like 5 minutes before and then you shaken up, I would 2 weeks before my fight, I would meditate and I would imagine that I'm already there. Like in 5 minutes, I'm going to fight. So I would literally make my body would tense up. I would start breathing. I'm in flight or flight while in like my backyard lawn, right? So I'm already in that state of fighting. So I've already accounted that position so many times that I'm ready for it. So now, like, you can account for that's like a bad situation, like you say, like, but then you can account for a situation that is fruitful. Like, for example, like a house that you want, maybe you giving a house to your mom.
Sure.
You imagine it happen because now you ask yourself, what do I feel? What is like the air feel like? And all the 5 senses that involved into it, So now it becomes reality. It's already real in your head.
True. Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think it's hocus pocus either. It's like that one step closer. And it's like what we were saying before, when we were talking about Vegas, it's like you didn't see none of that. And it's like the way that you think causes the way that you actually perceive the world to be, And if anything, it strengthens that belief to become like true,
Yeah.
But I realize it's a common theme between like entrepreneurs and stuff, having those like little techniques that they use and stuff.
Yeah.
How organized would you say you are as well? Because obviously it is chaotic life. You were telling us before off podcast, like regardless of Ramadan, we'd like to get up 5 a.m. Every day. Maybe 2-part question. What is the day in the life of a Hakeem?
Yeah.
And then second part, we'll go back to the chaotic part as well. But what is the day of life of Hakeem?
Yeah. Well, it never used to be like, so organized. I used to be horrible. Wake up like 12. Used to like, scroll midnight, like
Brain rot,
YouTube.
activity.
Yeah. It used to be. It was never like this, like in high school and like growing up. I really had to like, take the social media away, despite like posting on it. It's very easy to be in this industry and get caught up in it. So you just have to know yourself. And I realized that like in the mornings, after I just shake out that tired, I'll be good. Maybe I start with a workout, I'm better. So it was all about testing. And then I tested, and this is like what I feel like it works for me. So wake up really early, and then cold shower, have a workout, either Muay Thai or go to the gym for an hour. I come back and I try to, as fast as I can, go to the work.
Yeah.
And how I structure my day, I'll probably get back before 7. And I start work at 7, and I do the hardest task on my list. So what's the hardest thing that I don't really want to do that creates the highest impact, right? Like you can do a bunch of mini little things, and you get quick wins, and you're like, yeah, but then like you still have that one big like banana under the
Usually like avoid or like delay it. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I choose to like hard now and easy later.
Yeah.
And work my way down, and definitely have like a lot of meetings. I'd keep that at the end, pretty much do about like 4 hours of deep focus, and then I'll either do my second training session or like I'll pray, like duha, and then come back, do another, and then spend time with my mom, help her with like household, and like with my brother if he needs, like, let's say, because he's working for me as well now.
No.
So I help him with homework.
How old is he?
He's 13.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
When he's working with you and you're helping him with homework?
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah, sometimes I tell him not to do the homework. You do not. Yeah.
Still not real.
Yeah, don't remember medical school.
Pray, sleep, rinse, repeat the next day.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you tend to plan out your weeks and stuff like that, or
Yeah. We try plan.
as much as possible?
I try plan, but oftentimes, like, life is life.
Yeah.
I do plan my day, the day before. I tend that is the most highest, like, return on time, because like in the morning you're so foggy. You're like, you can't think. So if you already have a list of the things that you need to do, you shortcut decision making.
Yeah. Big time. Big time.
Yeah.
With the social media aspect of things, you've amassed almost like 500 million views.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Earlier on before we were speaking about how, like, Melbourne, like Australia, if you are to do something, more than likely you are to see some sort of success, because the market's untapped, no one's sort of done anything. What would you say to the content creators, those that are just starting out, and even us, like, even like personally, to us as FairDinkum?
Yeah.
What are some tips and tricks, to, I guess, amass 500 million views?
Yeah. Great question. How I like to think about it is, at the start, when you're starting out content creation, or you're starting to grow your business, not even content creation, if you're starting out your business, you got to think of it like throwing spaghetti at the wall. You throw spaghetti and you see what sticks, and it's going to be crap at the start. You're going to throw a week, but you're going to see what sticks, right? So at the start, it's all about quantity first over quality, because at the start, you don't know what quality is. You don't know what works for you. So I like to think of it like this. You have, let's say you're in a zombie apocalypse. right? And you're blindfolded, right? And the zombies are coming at you, and you have two choices of weaponry. You have the machine gun, or you have the sniper.
Yeah.
Which one are you gonna pick?
Bro, machine gun.
Machine gun,
Yeah,
right?
because
You're just gonna
more chances.
right, and you're just gonna hit those hit markers, and you see, okay, cool, so roughly around here, and you're just gonna shoot.
Yeah.
That's how it's like when you first begin your journey. You want to get as many shots out as possible and see what's hitting and adjust accordingly. Then once you start hitting and you start seeing like the traction,
Yeah.
and you might not even see traction. This is not meant. You're blindfolded. You don't see anything.
Thanks.
You're just meant to just aim for a target and shoot. Over time, you'll be able to see vision now. You see what's working. You get your reps up. As more of those blindfold comes up, you're able to choose the snipers and shoot for those like collaterals. You guys ever played Black Ops 2?
Yeah, bro. What do you mean? I still play to this now.
Yeah.
Black Ops 6 now. We're on to that.
Yeah. So
Bad habit though.
yeah. So you're able to use that sniper and hit one shots. And people were starting out aim for perfection straight away.
Yeah.
You know, naturally as creatives, as barbers, as, you know, podcast creators, as creatives that, you know, create good stuff, we want always to be perfect.
Correct.
But there's a principle of the 80-20 rule is that, you know, 20% of the things that you do create the 80%. So I was like, what does that even mean? And put quickly is that, like, let's say you have sugar and you have a can. For you to get 80% of the sugar in, it's going to take you like 5 seconds. But to get that last 20%, you have to like really get every single piece, and it's going to... So that's how it's like at the start. Just do things at an 80% level until it's good enough to get that quantity out.
Mm-hmm.
And switch to the sniper when the vision starts getting clearer.
Sure, that perfectionism. In order to learn that concept, yeah, it would have taken some time. And like, I guess every entrepreneur, even us when we were doing this venture and stuff, you have times where you're thinking, is this sort of worth it? When I hit that fork road, did I make the right decision? Did you ever have those moments?
Of like
I guess not doubt. I don't want to use the word doubt, you know, because it's not really men, and I'm joking. But at moments where you're thinking like it's a hard time, like it's tough times, business probably might not be doing as well, you know. Is this the right venture that I've sought out to take? Should I have done something different? You know, I don't want to use doubt because there's probably
always
a better word for it, you know.
Always.
Yeah.
I think always, like when you choose a certain decision, you went in there, you're never going to be 100%.
Yeah.
Right. Even in faith, you know what I mean? You lose, like, faith goes up and down.
Yeah.
You know, you can never be, it's never sunshines and rainbows.
Yeah.
Because you tend to, like, the devil tends to whisper in your ear and says like, yo, you made the wrong decision. A ton of times that happened when I chose Barber, because for a whole 2 years straight, I didn't see any results.
Correct. Yeah.
I posted like, 45 days straight, saw nothing, like under like 1,000 views, and thought to myself like, damn, is this social media thing going to work?
Correct.
And no one's doing it in Melbourne as well. When people like Asians revert to Islam, like, damn, is this the right choice? No, there's no other Asians, so there's always going to be doubts, but it's like being an optimist.
Correct.
Yeah. Being an optimist. Yeah.
That's what pushed you through. Yeah.
Yeah.
That optimistic mindset.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because people kind of forget about that period where, like, even myself, I look at like other content creators and I think to myself, I want to be in their shoes or where they are, but then I don't realize maybe the years of content they struggled with.
100%.
Because you kind of forget, it's kind of, you only see the good stuff.
The highlights.
Yeah, the
highlights. The lowlights.
Yeah.
There was no one cheering for you
Yeah.
on stage. If you were to start from zero, if you had to go back to zero, start this all over again, what would you do then?
I would find a problem. Yeah. It's just business fundamentals of finding a problem, understand that problem, and then position myself to solve it. Learn the skills in order to solve it. Number one. Number two would be prioritize learning over earning. I'm young. I'm 21 years old, and I'm consistently learning. And how I like to think of it is like a stovetop. Life is like a stovetop. If you crank 4 burners at the same time, it's going to explode. But if you have like one up and then the other one's cooking, is chill. So really, life is like same thing. One burner is earning, one burner is learning, another burner is relationships, and your other burner is performance, right? For example, like physical. It doesn't make sense to have expectations to burn all at the same time to be able to get relationships, everything. You have to sacrifice one. At the start of your career, you have to prioritize learning, developing the skill acquisition in order to get there, right? That's number 2. And number 3 is just don't give up. Yeah. Just don't give up. Yep. Because like you're almost there. You know, there's so many times where I had moments where I would have quit. Like I was actually going to shut my shop down at one point. Because of something happened. And like
That's the moment I was referring to, the hardships. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Yeah, like you basically, like we had the council came
Okay.
and we were gonna shut it down. And I had a moment. I was like, damn, all of this is gone. Yeah, all of this is gone. And like, man, I should have went to the other path. I should have listened to all those people that said, you know, barbering and my business path, like you shouldn't go down in cancelling your degree. And that moment was like, damn, everyone's right. Right, everyone's right. And I basically thought like I was a failure. You know, and I was very grateful for that moment because I was able to reset my expectations, and I just had to make it work. Like when you're back against the wall, and like, you know, I'm the main provider for my mum, you know, and my little brother as well. So you just make it work.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, you just make it work, and you find a way. And the reason why I found a way was because I had that urgency. You know, I had that drive to like, okay, no, I have higher potential than this, and I'm gonna listen to that. Like, you know, I'm more than this. So I didn't quit, and I think that's why now I'm so grateful to be in the position I am, because I'm able to help people break through that point easier. Because then there was nothing about someone saying making 10K as a barber is like, you're like insane, you know, even to become a barber. Yeah. So now I'm so grateful because I'm literally doing this because I want to just speak to my younger self. And yeah.
Do you read? You mentioned earlier on you read books.
Yeah.
Favorite book and why?
Great hands. Definitely. You don't need that, mate.
You call you off guard.
Right now I'm reading
Yeah, what are you reading now?
The Life in the Barzakh.
Okay.
Basically, Life in the Grave. My favorite books.
You know, Umar Suleiman has a series on that right now.
Yeah.
Barzakh series.
Yeah, like the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, personally, I don't think there's number one book.
Yeah.
I think there's number one book in your situation. Something is only valuable to you if you have a constraint towards it. If I give you a solution right now, and you don't need it, then
It's irrelevant.
yeah. Even though the advice is so high, like a high level entrepreneur, like billionaires, like accepting advice from them sometimes is too high level that isn't meant for you. You just gotta have advice someone that's suitable to you. So how I like to think about books is that, like, what is the topic that you're most interested right now? What's something that you want to fix the most? Is it social skills? Is it, like, you know, maybe your business? Is it marketing? Is it self-improvement? Is it discipline? Is it habits? Because my first book that really helped me change was a big constraint in myself was my habits. You know, understanding the habit system and like how to break bad habits and how to start good habits and why good habits stay and why bad habits continue.
Facts, yeah.
And that book was Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits, yeah.
So anyone that's struggling with habits, you know, that book would immensely, because it's a problem that is most thing. But if I gave that to, you know, Alex, he'd be like, what's this?
Yeah, double.
All right. So it's the same thing. You have to find the book that's suitable to you. Yeah.
Right there. Any last questions, Ali?
I think we save it for another episode. I think we're going to bring him on many times, inshallah.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for honoring us with your time.
Of course.
Just for our audience that don't know you, you know, where can they find you?
Yeah. So you can find me in Jannah, inshallah. Inshallah. So yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Hakeem Hoang.
Right.
Instagram, Hakeem Hoang. TikTok as well. And yeah, push like content on there. Try to do
YouTube as well, yeah.
word. Yeah, good work.
So you do a collaboration? You want to work on my head?
Yeah, let's do it, bro. Let's tease something up.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Just gotta pay me $250 though.
If anything for kill.
It's going to ask a lot.
Thank you guys for listening. You guys know the drill. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, we'll see you next week's episode. Peace.